Tonight on News 5 Live, Prime Minister John Briceno defends decision to have former Ambassador Alexis Rosado remain as Belize's co-agent to the ICJ. San Pedro's Sargassum problem resurfaces with full force, prompting an urgent public meeting on the island. And a land clinic in Belize rural north. Hundreds of residents gather in Sand Hill to have their land issues sorted out. These stories and more coming up on News 5 Live.
I'm always on the go, and the country is my home. So when I want to get away from it all, I immerse myself with my favorite movies, all from the new Smart Stream app. It's easy to use this service. Purchase your movies from the app and use your mobile data, Smart Stream data packages, or smart broadband to stream and enjoy. Be like me and stream on the go with Smart Stream.
My name is Wilmer De La Rosa from Santa Elena Town. I am currently a student at Kaya set for employment training, enrolled in the electrical installation program. In late July 2021, I got a confirmation that I was successful applicant and would be granted a scholarship from Social Security Board. It was one of the proudest moments for me. I felt very excited to start this new path in my life. So far on my journey as a Social Security Board scholar, my vocational technical scholarship has assisted me in achieving my life goals in so many ways. For one, it has a new sense of purpose, another chance at professional development, and a start at a new career. This opportunity has paved the way for me to excel as an individual and as a member of society. Great things are coming after I graduate from SET, and I promise you that. Applying for a vocational technical scholarship through the Social Security Board is simple and easy. I would advise young people in need to apply. It is possible to create a fulfilling and fruitful life with a Social Security scholarship. Believe in yourself and your abilities and skills. I always say the key is to always keep an open mind and let your determination be your motivation.
Are you looking for low-cost television advertising? Have we got a deal for you? Advertise on Channel 5's Daily Classifieds. Channel 5's Daily Classifieds is one of the most effective methods for introducing yourself and your business to the community. Use our Daily Classifieds to recruit employees, promote specials, promote your products or services, promote a business opportunity, increase traffic to your website, and advertise items you have for sale. Let us help you to save valuable time and money. Call us today at 280-0013 or visit us at our offices on Coney Drive to discuss how we can help your business grow affordably. Channel 5 Daily Classifieds. Advertise today.
newscast is brought to you by the Belize Bank Limited. Our country, your bank.
Good evening and welcome to News 5 Live for Wednesday, May 11th. I am Sabrina Daly. Several weeks after being accused of rape and assault, former ambassador of Belize to the European Union, Alexis Rosado, remains active on Belize's ICJ team. Rosado demitted his ambassadorial post following the allegations, but he currently remains a co-agent at the International Court of Justice. Reports are that Rosado was part of the high-level meeting with Belize's ICJ team a few days ago. The team is currently preparing to present its counter-memorial before the World Court, which is slated for June. Alexis Rosado is arguably one of the most knowledgeable Belizeans on the border dispute between Belize and Guatemala. We caught up with Prime Minister John Briceno in Belize City today and asked him about his administration's decision to have Rosado remain on the team. He says the Ministry of Foreign Affairs is between a rock and a hard place, because while the allegations against Rosado are damning, every bit of his expertise on the matter are needed.
There is a no-win situation on this matter because there are times, when I answered that question with Alexis Rosado, they jumped at me because of she's a young lady that has made the charges, and we certainly feel for her. I mean, every family in this country, I believe, or 99% of the families in this country have had some case of abuse within the family, and in most instances it's a family friend or a family member, and so that kind of abuse is heinous, and we need to do everything possible to go after the perpetrator, and Alexis Rosado is no exception. But before we get to that point, that has to be determined whether he is innocent or whether he is guilty. Our system says that you are innocent until you are determined that you are guilty. Now, what did we do? We immediately removed him from Brussels, where he's representing us as our ambassador in Brussels. But right now we have something that is an existential threat to our country, which is the case between Belize and Guatemala. And he has been working as one of our co-agents. Along with Assad Schuman, I would probably say that probably he is one of the most knowledgeable persons when it comes to Belize, Guatemala. I am certain that the Foreign Minister has a reason why he kept him there. And simply is that we are right at the point where we are preparing our counter memorial to present to the ICJ. Now, God forbid that we do not use his expertise, and because we did not use his expertise, we go to court and there are some mix-up, and then we pay the consequences by losing a portion of Belize. What would be your reaction? You all are going to be the first that are going to come on top of us like a ton of bricks, saying, well, you have the responsibility to protect us, and that is what we do. We want to make sure that we have the best possible case at this time. And Alexis has dedicated his life to public service and to this issue of Belize, Guatemala, and the Foreign Minister of Belize at this time. And I support him with that, his recommendation, that we need to use him because we are right there going to court. It's not like happened a year ago where we have time to be able to regroup and try to see what we can do. This is going to court in June.
So may I suggest that he should be benched because an investigation into these allegations against him is currently ongoing.
As you said, you made a comment, and I respect your comment, but I do believe that we have a responsibility to this country.
Prime Minister John Briceno also spoke about the historic move by Mexico to strike out all tariffs related to agricultural exports from Belize into Mexico. As the largest neighboring country to Belize, PM Briceno says the move creates an opportunity for farmers to increase their production and create greater revenue. He noted that he has been in conversation with President Obrador on the reduction of these taxes since 2021. PM Briceno says that a conversation about Belize's amnesty program with the Mexican president during his recent visit is what motivated the president's openness to these new terms.
From when I was in opposition, I've always been saying that Mexico is a huge trading partner. They have over 125 million Mexicans, and they need to eat. And we're a small country, we're a drop in the bucket, so that we can be able to sell our products within Mexico without creating a disruption within Mexico. So that's an advantage. We had the opportunity then to meet last year with the president of Mexico, better known as AMLO. Everybody know him as AMLO, Andres Manuel Lopez Obrador. And at that meeting, actually, we were in a tent, just himself, his foreign minister, myself, our foreign minister, Iman Courtney, and our both ambassadors. We should have been a 20-minute meeting. We ended up spending more than an hour. So, I was talking to him about Belize and what we're doing, and then that if we can remove these taxes, to create great opportunity for us. When he came again on Saturday, the night before, the technical teams from Mexico and Belize were grappling and fighting over the wording that we were going to put on trade. Then he started to ask us, what are the products that we have? I said, we do rice, we do beans, we do pork, we do chicken, we do beef, we do shrimps, we do fish, And he said, and I was telling him, and I said, Mr. President, we don't want the market in Monterrey. All we need is a market in Quintana Roo. That's more than enough for us. So imagine, I said, we can farm the fish and the shrimp in the morning, and by the evening, it's in a plate of people to eat in Cancun. And that's when he said, well, you know what? Then I think it's best that we should both do this for you, because they're also converting the part of Quintana Roo, part of the border towns, in this case it would be Chetumal, into a duty-free zone. So to offset that, they said, okay, then we can then provide this for Belize, and then to create opportunities for farmers, and then to allow our farmers to stay in the rural areas and not have to come into the urban areas where jobs are limited, or be trying to go to the United States.
Earlier today, Belizean ambassador to Mexico, Oscar Arnold, spoke with News 5 about the significance of the agreements forged between Belize and Mexico. Insofar as products that Belize produces for consumption, tariffs will be lifted for the importation of foods and agricultural products into Mexico. Approximately 2,000 farmers will be receiving technical support and will be paid to produce specific goods to supply the Mexican market. Ambassador Arnold says that while there are some technical issues to be ironed out, the Sembrando Vida program, as it is called, will come on stream in the next 3 to 4 months.
This is a huge milestone for Belize. We're at a very critical juncture in our relationship with Mexico. We've seen it improve over the last year or so. And this is something that we were working towards. Belize will still be looking at signing a trade agreement with Mexico, but that is still a work in progress. But what this does, it sets the foundation for where this trade agreement will start. The technical people still have to work out a lot. Our agricultural producers, our farmers, our cattle producers must make sure that they can have a steady flow or a steady production that they can then, or that we can as a country sell to Mexico. This is a huge deal because in Quintana Roo alone, if we were to penetrate that market, they would be able to purchase everything that we produce. And we're talking about all of Mexico, Quintana Roo, Yucatan, Chiapas, all the other states there. So this is a huge achievement. It signals that the Mexicans respect the administration and the foreign policy of Belize.
The Sembrando Vida program, for which the farmers and their families are to benefit, also addresses the issue of migrant flow that has been plaguing the region. For some time now, Central American migrants have been fleeing north for economic opportunities and, in some cases, for their personal safety. According to Ambassador Arnold, this is also a significant move.
It's an initiative that was started up to try to stem the irregular migratory flow of Central American migrants going north. It is envisioned, or it was thought, that if you provide resources, if you provide jobs, in the countries of origin, that would be a deterrent, and that there would be less and less irregular migration northwards. So it will be an additional economic boost for them. But it's a program that was rolled out in the 3 countries that is considered the Northern Triangle, Salvador, Honduras, and Guatemala, where irregular migration has become a consistent blight on the economies of the North. And one of the areas, or the thinking is, if you provide opportunities in the countries of origin, then there will be less and less people who will take that arduous and very perilous journey to migrate northwards.
The International Monetary Fund released its 2022 country report on Belize on Tuesday, May 10th. In its report, the IMF took note of Belize's economic recovery over the last fiscal year. The report says of Belize's economy, quote, "Economic activity is recovering strongly," unquote. The IMF also noted that near 10% expansion in real GDP led by the recovery of the tourism sector. It goes on to speak about the significant improvement in the country's fiscal position, with a 1.7 increase in GDP in the primary balance, principally led by a recovery of cyclical revenue and decline in public debt. On the other hand, the IMF projects that the primary balance will decrease to 0.1%, a 1.6% decline, due to actions taken by the Briceno administration to mitigate the rising cost of fuel. PM Briceno commented on the IMF's projection.
When people were attacking the government for the rise in the fuel, and we were making the point that we did not raise the taxes. The taxes were already set. We're collecting the same amount of taxes as set by the previous government. But we understand the situation, and we understand that fuel is the engine for the economy. That is what fuels growth. And we could not, in good conscience, also say, well, it's not our fault, it's internationally, and everybody can see it in the world. I mean, in the United States, the price of fuel is over $4. I believe in some areas in California, it's as high as $14. So it's higher than what we have it here in Belize, and they produce their own fuel. We don't. But we felt that what is our aim? Our aim is to be able to reduce poverty. How do you reduce poverty? Is by growing the economy. But if we're stifling the economy with a high price of fuel, then we are going to lose the battle. We're going to lose the growth that we want to produce. So now we said, well, okay, we have to make some sort of sacrifice. The IMF looks at numbers. We look at people. We are here to try our very best to make the lives of our citizens better. And if that means that we have to get the IMF upset, well, so be it. You know, we need to be able to see what we can do. We have every confidence that with what we're doing and continuing to push the growth of the economy, that the primary balance, we hope that it can be able to improve by the end of the year. If you look at what the IMF was saying about us last year in January, it was a bad report that they gave. And towards the end, then they had to give us credit for the work that we're doing.
CARICOM heads of government have taken a joint decision not to attend the upcoming Summit of the Americas in Los Angeles, California. CARICOM's firm position is in protest of a decision to have countries like Cuba and Panama barred from attending the summit. As pro tem chair of CARICOM, PM Briceno says the U.S. is lobbying for CARICOM to change its position. But for now, the position stands.
When we had the heads of government meeting in March here in Belize, 1st and 2nd of March, we made a decision that the Summit of America is supposed to be the Summit of the Americas, not the Summit of some of the Americas, and that we want to, that is important that everyone be invited. So we believe that we said that we would go, we would only attend if everyone is invited. As you all know, the Americans are under an intense diplomatic drive to be able to get us to attend. The Summit of the Americas is very important, and we haven't had one in person for some time now, since before the pandemic. And CARICOM wants to attend, Belize wants to attend. This is an opportunity to be able to discuss about issues not only pertaining to Belize, but also to the region. So it's not a decision I have taken lightly. The way things are progressing now, and with the intense lobby from the United States, CARICOM will meet again. We hope to be able to have a meeting tomorrow and to see what would be the decision, the final decision. So at this time, it is still that we will not attend.
Coming up, Wilmer Escobar will serve 35 years in prison for the gruesome double murder of a pair of sisters in the Toledo district. Details when we return.
Digi, the premier name in voice and data, is also the country's leading provider of innovative services and solutions for small business and enterprise. At DigiBusiness, we offer solutions, tools, and applications to support your business needs. Reduce costs, improve efficiency, and excel in a changing world where no idea is too big and no task is too small. From technology advising to design implementation and management, our team of qualified solution sales and specialists can develop a reliable and robust infrastructure, allowing you to spend more time on what matters most, your business. Visit us online to explore how DigiBusiness innovative products and solutions can help your business reduce costs and improve efficiency.
Toyota responds. Toyota always responds. When you buy a Toyota from an official dealer, you not only get the most accurate car for your country, but also the best companion in every step of the journey. Getting your Toyota at official dealers brings you closer to original spare parts, to top maintenance, to the most specialized service. But most importantly, you will never be alone. Get your Toyota in an official dealer and we will always be there for you. Toyota.
We have traveled and we have consulted with communities across Belize to ensure the best solutions for their energy needs. Under BEL's Rural Electrification Program, and with funds provided by both BEL and the European Union, mini-grid systems will be constructed in several remote communities in northern and southern Belize.
This mini-grid, this will benefit us. The school will benefit, the church will benefit, and the people.
Belize Electricity Limited. We remain committed to delivering safe, reliable, and sustainable energy solutions.
1.5 years ago, the agriculture industry was on the brink of collapse, with farmers losing hope and money. Within months of taking office, a government of the People's United Party reopened the Big Falls rice mill in the Toledo district, closed for years, and regularized the export of cattle to Mexico. Today, with commitment and a bold plan, agriculture in Belize has become one of the country's primary revenue earners. Motivated by a commitment to grow what we eat, the government has placed focus on our farmers, providing an environment and unwavering support. In all sectors, from small vegetable farming to large-scale production of milk, grains, sugar, and livestock, the government has stood strong behind our productive sector. In 1.5 years, we have done so much together. Let us continue on this strong record. Forward together, we will continue to deliver on Plan Belize.
The recurring issue of sargassum washing up on the beaches of Hamburger's Key is once again posing a serious challenge to residents of San Pedro. Earlier today, reporter Marian Ali visited the island and has joined us on set to briefly discuss the problem and what San Pedranos are prepared to do to address this issue. Good evening, Marian.
Hi,
Let's
Sabrina.
begin by describing what you saw when you went out there.
Well, before the plane even landed from the air, we could see like swaths of seagrass, huge swaths of seagrass on the approach to the island. And so that kind of set a pace for me to know, what to expect when we did land. Right. And when we did land, the entire island, if you took a view from the coast and you look straight northwards, the entire island, for as far as the eyes could see, was lined with, the seashore was lined with sargassum, layers and layers of sargassum. And at this hour, presently, there is a town council meeting happening along with the San Pedro Sargassum Task Force and the residents of that community. They are meeting to discuss a way forward, how they're going to deal with managing the sargassum invasion, I want to call it.
Right.
Because it is still, the tourism season is still on, and so they want to, as much as possible, control how it's going to affect the industry. And so we spoke with the mayor and we spoke with one of the representatives from the Tour Operators Association, and as well as one of the proprietors of a resort out there to find out, their ideas, what they expect to come out of this meeting and a way forward. And so we go now to that story. It originates in the Sargasso Sea in the North Atlantic, but for several years, this brown seagrass has been drifting towards this side of the world at certain times of the year, washing up on the shores of coastal countries and communities. When it begins to rot, it releases a pungent odor and an appearance that makes the shoreline everything but aesthetically pleasing. The eastern beach in San Pedro has not been spared of the sargassum invasion, but the town council has convened an urgent meeting with the Sargassum Task Force as well as residents to come up with a way forward on how it will address the issue.
It is quite unmanageable that we run out of manpower, and so we are employing temporarily about 20 to 25 more employees. We open it up for employment so that we can get more assistance. Unless we have the pontoons that are made to collect it with the conveyor belts. So we do need the assistance from everybody. So that's the main reason why we're having this meeting today, so that we can come up with different ideas and a possible solution for it.
One of the sectors that will be represented to discuss the cleaning up of the sargassum is the Tour Operators Association.
We believe that it is our duty to involve ourselves in the community, especially when it comes to situations like this that everybody is affected by, right? And not only the tour operators that have businesses on the water side, but there's also restaurants, there's also bars, there's different businesses that are affected by this situation here. It is unfair for us to just depend on our government or our town council here locally to battle this problem on their own.
Canol says that so far there have been no cancellations at hotels within the town itself, but 3 miles north at Matachica Resort, the Sargassum invasion has interrupted business.
We are paying back a lot of money to tourists in compensation when we receive complaints.
About Sargassum?
About Sargassum. Yeah, that can go anything from free meals to we have to give a free night of their stay, we have to refund their night stay.
Wolfgang Brandl says the resort has had to make some expensive cleaning up investments.
We employ additional 8 people on a daily basis, including transportation and meals and all of that. They're coming, they're starting, 5:30 in the morning they start. They don't stop until 4:30 in the afternoon. We have 3 ATVs with 3 trailers running the whole day, just taking whatever they are piling up, taking it and discarding it in the back where we have to landfill it. Okay. But it is a daily battle and it's very cost intensive to run this operation. I mean, it's 8 laborers that we are paying on a daily basis, 7 days a week.
The seagrass causes far more lasting effects than an unsightly and unpleasant smell. It also impacts the environment.
The sand that they're taking from the beaches is what is actually what they're taking for landfill, which has been contributing more and more to the erosion of our beaches. So it is a problem for us, it is a problem for our tourism because we're taking away the beach.
The water quality, I mean, if you see here our pier, it's 300 feet long, so it goes 350 feet out, discolored brown, not very inviting waters that we're actually not used to. As soon as it reaches the shoreline and it starts, you know, being exposed to the oxygen and then starts breaking down, I mean, the stench is just sometimes unbearable.
One way that Mayor Nunes explained they are contemplating getting rid of this unbearable problem is to entertain potential investors who want to export the seagrass.
I had an investor yesterday that came over to the council, which is very interested in possibly exporting it. He's doing some studies with it to see if they can utilize it for to make blocks for burning, like for firewood. We are inviting him over to be a part of this so that we can discuss and see if that would be a solution to our problem.
We'll follow up on the Sargassum problem on Thursday for an update. Reporting for News 5, I'm Marion Ali.
In order to export sargassum as a raw material to convert into firewood, collecting the seagrass is another key aspect of its overall management. Today, Minister of Blue Economy and Area Representative for Belize Rural South, Andrea Perez, said there are quicker ways to extract sargassum from the seashore than with rakes, shovels, and wheelbarrows. But it's costly. Nonetheless, it's an option, he says, that San Pedro is looking at.
I think we're looking at bringing a fleet of pontoon boats that we're able to capture the sargassum in the water, not in the beach. And uniquely speaking, with Kikaka and San Pedro, there are cuts in the reef. And when you fly over the reef, you can clearly see the sargassum turns into a bottleneck and it comes through the cuts. This is where the bulk of the sargassum is coming. So we are making this ambitious plan where we can capture that sargassum before it lands at sea. Whatever lands on the beach, it can be clearly done by the council and the different hoteliers that are on the beach. And certainly this, it is going to cost. Part of it, funding that we have to seek out there. Also, we want to be working on with BTB. We have PAC out there that can give us assistance. This is within the marine reserves, as well as the private sector. We're looking into that because not only obtaining these pontoon boats, but we also have to maintain it, the burning of diesel. We have to set up a place where this is going to be collected. So it's an ambitious plan, but we're starting today. So I think that in the end, it's going to be an experiment, but we feel that this is the one that is going to work the best right now. As it relates to the sargassum, it is phenomenal. This year has been overwhelming.
The new bridge that connects the north and south sides of San Pedro town will soon be completed. The bridge will place the existing Barry Bowen Bridge, whose wooden planks have been lifting at certain spots, posing a threat to vehicular traffic. Today, San Pedro Mayor Gilberto Nunes told us that the town council has been working not only on this piece of infrastructure, but several others.
We have a lot of roads and streets that have been worked on in the different residential areas that have been neglected for many, many years. And we have the first phase of the bridge that is about to be completed in about 2 weeks. And we are quickly going to jump into the second phase, which is the existing bridge, which we will be removing, and we will be replacing with a concrete bridge.
A man who was convicted in March of the double murder of 2 sisters has been condemned to 2 life sentences at the Belize Central Prison. This morning, Justice Antoinette Moore sentenced Wilmer Escobar in the Southern District session of the Supreme Court for the double murder of sisters 20-year-old Crescencia and 18-year-old Josephine Aw. The siblings, who were chopped to death, were found on a road in San Antonio Village, Toledo District in January of 2018. Escobar's sentences will run concurrently, and he will have eligibility for parole after 35 years. Since he has already served 4 years and 4 months on remand, that time will be taken into account when the time comes around for him to apply for parole. After the break, the Ministry of Blue Economy meets with residents and stakeholders to address the Silky land erosion. But first, here is a look at the latest COVID-19 figures.
Todo beliceño merece tener una conexión de internet de calidad, rápida y confiable en su hogar. Para clases en línea y trabajo desde casa, es la nueva forma de vida. Diginet es el proveedor número 1 de servicio de fibra óptica, impulsando la transición digital de Belice. Y ahora nuestro servicio de Diginet es aún más accesible con nuestro nuevo plan de entrada. Por tiempo limitado, tú y tu familia pueden disfrutar de 20 megabits por segundo por solamente $49 mensuales. No más clases perdidas ni reuniones virtuales interrumpidas. Te está costando mucho tiempo y dinero. Diginet es mejor que cualquier opción de cable o servicio inalámbrico. Visita cualquier Digistore hoy y suscríbete para la conexión más rápida y confiable de Internet para el hogar en Belice. Ven a ver lo que te has estado perdiendo. El mismo servicio de fibra de alta calidad, rápido y confiable, ahora a un precio aún más bajo. Para más información, visita www.livedigi.com/Diginet. Digi, nuestra telecomunicación nacional.
Welcome to Design Depot. All in one place. Shop brands you know and trust, like Kohler. Welcome, GE Appliances.
Welcome,
Oran Windows.
Welcome,
Tiles from around the world.
welcome.
Sherwin-Williams Paint and Coating. Visit us today at mile 3 on the Philip Golson Highway or call us at 223-3768. Design Depot. All in one place.
Are you looking for low-cost television advertising? Have we got a deal for you? Advertise on Channel 5's Daily Classifieds. Channel 5's Daily Classifieds is one of the most effective methods for introducing yourself and your business to the community. Use our Daily Classifieds to recruit employees, promote specials, promote your products or services, promote a business opportunity, increase traffic to your website, and advertise items you have for sale. Let us help you to save valuable time and money. Call us today at 280-0013 or visit us at our offices on Coney Drive to discuss how we can help your business grow affordably. Channel 5's Daily Classifieds. Advertise today.
The community center in Sand Hill Village was teeming with activity as residents from across the Belize Rural North constituency gathered at that location to participate in a land clinic. The Ministry of Natural Resources has held over 12 of these mobile clinics since the portfolio was assumed by Deputy Prime Minister Cordell Hyde in 2020. Today, we had a chance to speak with the minister as well as the area representative on the impact of this initiative in rural communities. News 5's Isani Kayatano reports.
Since reviving the mobile land clinic, the Ministry of Natural Resources, particularly the Lands Department, has been addressing the needs of thousands of Belizeans in their respective communities.
We've done over a dozen of them. It's in high demand. Everywhere we go, people want us to come back, and the places we haven't been, people want us to come. The truth of the matter is that land issues are varied, there are plenty, and a lot of them lingering for many years.
In Belize Rural North, a constituency with as many as 23 villages, the issues surrounding land acquisition and tenure are wide-ranging. This morning, Oscar Pollard traveled from Lucky Strike Village to Sand Hill. As a past chairman, he is representing a handful of residents from his community.
A number of people have applied for lease, and to date, they have not gotten their lease. People have applied to purchase land. Same situation. And well, as I explained to other people, that today is not a day for first application because of the vast amount of people that we have. But it's a great concern, and we need to have more clinics like this.
Under the leadership of Deputy Prime Minister Cordell Hyde, whose portfolio includes the aforesaid responsibilities, things have been shaping up considerably. Taking the clinic to the people alleviates the headache of visiting the Lands Department in Belmopan, where simple processes are often bogged down due to endless red tape.
We don't have enough hands to keep up with the demand. So when we come and do a clinic, we're really taking the department to the people and focusing on giving them priority. And so they're able to get their stuff done in a very short time. Stuff that's been lingering for many years, they are able to get in a day or two.
Area Representative Marconi Leal Sr. acknowledges the issues that his constituents are facing and, given the sheer size of Belize Rural North, has requested that additional time be afforded to assist as many landowners as possible within the constituency.
Well, we were asked to see more or less like 100 people from Belize Rural North today, but I am hoping that the Lands Department will work with us and maybe we go up to 125, 150. We don't know, but we'll see how it looks in the evening. But I know that they will work very late tonight and very late tomorrow night. So as much as we can see, we will see today.
While it requires a lot from the officers that are assigned to these clinics, the sense of satisfaction, according to DPM Hyde, is what pushes them forward.
I think I see in the eyes of our public officers the satisfaction they get from satisfying people, from making people happy. And as opposed to when you're in Belmopan, where there's usually this rancor and this intensity, on the clinics people are relaxed and people are able to show their appreciation. And I think the public officers really value that. But it's a lot of work.
In Lucky Strike, where land tenure has been the primary challenge for residents, a unique opportunity such as this allows for the situation to be addressed.
I have been working with various members of the community dealing with their land problem. I took it on my own. I've been to Belmopan, see the minister. You know, there's land that are lack, and that's one of the big issues. They have people, as I said, that apply to purchase, and like myself, I have to purchase and I have for prescriptive rights, And these things are, delaying. And I know that this clinic out today probably could definitely address the situation.
Reporting for News 5, I am Isani Cayetano.
The chairperson of Biscayne Village, who was elected under a previous administration, also brought forward concerns from that community, where parcels of land had been set aside for residents. Those lands, we understand, would be offered instead to members of the Belize National Teachers Union. But did he act hastily when he came forward elsewhere in the media with his concerns? Here's how the Minister of Natural Resources responded.
The chairman jumped the gun, man. I didn't speak to the chairman myself earlier, but he spoke to my assistant Paul and a couple of our officers. And what we've undertaken to do is that all the applications that he sent in, we will process those. We're not going to process them here because there are hundreds of people here, but we will process those in a special little operation for him, actually. There was no need for him to jump the gun. We're not unfair people. If things have started before us, we will try our best to process them. But the demands are great for this ministry. I can tell you that in the case of Independence, where I don't even know what's the pronunciation of the era in Independence, but I think it's Goodview or Goodwill or something like that. Thousands of lots involved. Lots of people paid for those lots long before. And so when we went to have clinic there in December of last year, we processed those. We didn't give people who bought 10 lots. These programs or these kinds of projects in these villages is that they ends up focusing primarily on people who can afford to pay for the survey. So someone who has 5 lots already ends up, they can afford to pay for 5, they pay for 5. It can't be like that. In that case, then the people who don't have will never be able to get.
Land reform has been on the agenda for the Briceno administration since taking office in November of 2020. Long described as a hotbed of corruption, the Lands Department has had a bad rap for the corruption that takes place at that office. Earlier today, the Minister of Natural Resources commented on the changes that are being made under his watch.
One of the situations, one of the conditions that create that kind of corruption is really when the process moves too slow, when it takes so long for ordinary people to get their leases or their purchase approvals or their title. That incentivizes persons to offer to pay public officers. So the challenge on us is to remove the conditions, right? To focus on expediting that process. And that is what these clinics are about. Coming to people, coming to the communities, bringing the entire ministry to the communities to try to make sure that people get their land papers. Now the challenge for us is how do we transfer the same energy, the same compassion, the same empathy, the same desire to help people to all our offices all over the country so that ultimately ordinary people will get their papers in the shortest possible time, and ultimately no one will feel like they have to go and bribe anybody to get their papers. Because really that's wrong on both fronts. It's wrong on anybody who goes to offer money, and it's wrong on the public officers to accept that money.
Over the weekend, Stan Creek West Area Representative Rodwell Ferguson met with concerned residents from Placencia and neighboring villages about the erosion situation out at Silky. He promised that the matter would have been brought up in cabinet. And today, Minister of Blue Economy Andre Paris and CEO Kennedy and other technical staff of the ministry met with organizers of South Silky Reclamation exercise. Following the meeting, News 5 managed to speak with all sides to address the erosion at the quay.
Today is an unprecedented day where you combine science with common sense. I want to put either one first, you get common science or science with common. But it's a spectacular day, and I think it will be a framework, not just for Belize, but the rest of the world. Even God said He help those who help themselves. The people of the South, who I'm so proud of, have stepped up and get things done. And the government did the right motion.
We see it as a blessing, and that blessing was received today in reference to commitment from the government of the blue economy. The commitment in terms of long-term and short-term, and the assistance that they are willing to give the communities that are near Silky. That is with their expertise, that is with technicalities.
The plans of the blue economy, there's a key word in there. It's inclusive. It's not only about government, it is more than that. It has to be collaborative effort. In there it calls for the direct involvement of the people of this country, the community, and of course all the other partners that are involved in here as well, the NGOs and all the different organizations. So putting all of these together, but making clear that it is the Ministry of Blue Economy that leads. And in there, we have all the expertise that we can offer.
A task force has been established to include stakeholders from the Ministries of Blue Economy and Sustainable Development and Climate Change to look at best practices to put in place for a short-term and long-term solution to the degradation. The task force will ensure that the plan is environmentally sound and in compliance with the law.
They selected a task force, and then within the next 3 weeks, we will continue to work. He and the other members have been doing, and then we have that as short term, and then they develop a long-term plan, because it's not just a fix for now, but it's a fix for the future. And we understand that most keys come and go, but what we need is a short-term plan right now to fix what it is, so that the boats can get back on the island, that people can go back there. And so the short-term plan, and yes, you alluded to that they do EIA or whatever permits, right? They're going to help with that. They're going to make it easier for us. So all of it is not on us, but they're going to help us.
With the commitment from the government and the people championing the movement on the Placentia Peninsula, this ministry, along with the technical people, has committed themselves that they're going to assist us through that process. So I can assure you that an environmental clearance will be retrieved. Likewise, the technical experts will be out there to assist us to ensure that this project is done in a sound and environmentally manner, that it does not harm any flora and fauna to that extent.
Two things came out here. One is that we have to have immediate action taken there to alleviate the problem. We agreed also that to fix or to whatever we need to do to restore Silky, it cannot be done overnight. It cannot be done over a weekend. And we can, while we appreciate the noble gesture of the community, we are telling them there are things and ways how to, there are ways and methods how to doing it. And also, we are showing them that even we might be costing less instead of bringing foreign material from the mainland. What we are saying is, based on the expertise, that perhaps we can access the same sand from right around the islands in a place that is cleared by the Department of Environment. We're doing the quick assessment to alleviate the problem. We're going to do some further studies that we can do a long term. So it's right now, we need to fix this right now. And we're going to make it with the compliance of Department of Environment and the other different stakeholders in there, that this is what we're going to do for the moment.
Also in attendance was the chairman of Monkey River Village, Leonardo Castro. Earlier this year, we shared with you the reality on the ground where the small village is battling extinction due to erosion. Castro believes that today's meeting was positive and that there will be some support coming to the village.
Instead of stopping the effort, they continue with the effort at Silky. And this is something we've been wanting for such a long time in Monkey River. I mean, I like how they move fast with it, and we will move fast to fix it. And, you know, just they're doing a short-term project to fix it, and then a long-term project so we could have Silky for a very long time. And that is what we want in Monkey River. That's all we've been asking for years. And I trust the minister says he's going to Monkey River, and when they do the assessment for Monkey River, I hope that we do a short-term project where we could stop houses from falling into the sea, and then come up with a long-term project that we could have Monkey River for a very long time, just like Silky.
Erosion has also been happening out at Goff's Key, which has officially been closed for the next 6 months as reclamation works is taking place there. Just ahead, no new measures are being considered by the Ministry of Health despite an increase in positivity rate in COVID cases. But first, here is a weather update with data from the Belize Met Service.
world obsessed with the latest trends, fashions, and lifestyles, setting unrealistic expectations, and wanting to alter everything about ourselves. How is this affecting our self-worth? What if we were able to silence all the noise and focus on what really matters? Join us right here for Sagebrush Church as we begin our new series, Identity Theft, where we will discuss how to live in a world with ever-changing standards of perfection.
Usuario de eCash, la aplicación eCash está disponible en español. Cambiar el idioma de tu aplicación de eCash de inglés a español es rápido y sencillo. Deja mostrarte cómo se hace. Primero, abre tu aplicación eCash. Introduce tu PIN. Toca el icono More en la parte inferior de tu pantalla. Selecciona Security. Selecciona Language. Y luego selecciona Spanish. Vuelve a introducir tu PIN y ya está. Tu aplicación de eCash está ahora en español y puedes seguir disfrutando de tu cartera digital eCash. La aplicación eCash de Belize Bank te hace la vida más fácil.
Biodegradable plastics. When talking about plastic, don't you always hear people say that this plastic or that plastic is biodegradable, eco-friendly, environmentally friendly, green, or even ecological? Well, the truth is that these words and many others like them are often used to give the impression that the product is better for the environment. When shopping, the terms to look for are bio-based, compostable, or environmentally degradable plastics because they are tested against specific standards to ensure that they are broken down with minimal impacts to the environment. But what does biodegradable really mean? To put it simply, it is the breakdown of something into water, carbon dioxide, and biomass by the action of living organisms, usually bacteria or fungus. However, people call some plastics biodegradable, but they never fully break down because they still contain plastics made from petroleum or inorganic material. The plastics just break down into tinier pieces called microplastics, which then enter the food cycle through the ingestion by animals that people eat. Don't be fooled, check your labels. Click on the link below to see what you can do to help end the nightmare of single-use plastics. I'm Alison Castillo, and now you know.
¿Sabías que Hospital Galenia modificó los protocolos de seguridad y prevención de salud ante la pandemia de COVID-19 para evitar contagios?
Garantizamos contener a los pacientes que allí estamos manejando y disminuir riesgos de infecciones para el resto del hospital.
Hospital Galenia, más que un hospital.
I'm always on the go, and the country is my home. So when I want to get away from it all, I immerse myself with my favorite movies, all from the new Smart Stream app. It's easy to use this service. Purchase your movies from the app and use your mobile data, Smart Stream data packages, or smart broadband to stream and enjoy. Be like me and stream on the go with Smart Stream.
The People's United Party has issued a press release following the Village Council nomination day held on Sunday. This is for the 30 villages that will be going into elections on May 15th. Several slates in Arenal, Hummingbird Community, Steadfast Valley Community, Isabella Bank, Lemonal, and Georgeville have been endorsed, since the United Democratic Party failed to field any candidates in those villages. In Belize Rural North, 2 villages, including Lemonal and Isabella, were endorsed. News 5 spoke with area representative Marconi Leal Sr. about the preparations leading up to the elections.
What has the preparation been like within your constituency? As we've mentioned, there are a number of villages within Belize Rural North, and perhaps there are several slates that would be representing your party.
Yes, we're contesting all 23 villages. We had nomination last Sunday. Lemonal and Isabella was uncontested. Our slate will be endorsed. Only Double-Head Cabbage will have an election this coming Sunday. So out of the 3, we already won 2. This coming Sunday, we are having nomination for another 3. So we have 6 weeks of village council elections coming up, and we are planning to take as much as we can.
There has been this talk that as much as possible, politicians try to stay away from the politicking at that lower level. What has it been like for you in terms of either trying to maintain some kind of objectivity in the affairs of the village?
Well, I definitely want to win as much as I can because I want to put leaders in those communities that can work with me. We have a good working relationship so that we can develop the community. One village at a time, we're working and we won't stop.
The COVID-19 positivity rate has doubled in the last 4 days. Health experts are monitoring the number of positive results from the tests administered daily in order to determine whether there is an increase in cases. These tests are mainly done at health facilities and through surveillance. The jump from 2% to an over 5% positivity rate over the last 4 days was enough for the Ministry of Health to take note and issue an early warning. Today we spoke with Dr. Melissa Diaz-Musa, the Director of Public Health and Wellness, via Zoom.
We do expect, of course, in a pandemic to see changes in the number of cases and to see waves and troughs. So whenever we are monitoring and we see any changes, even slightly early, we would like to bring the attention to the general public for us to ensure that the public health measures are kept and are enhanced, and to ensure that we continue to promote the benefits of the COVID-19 vaccine. So generally with regards to the numbers, I've jotted down just a little bit of data. And we do know that for January, from January 1st to current, which is 19 weeks of the year so far, we have a total of 24,000 plus cases. And from that same time period, we have recorded 76 deaths in that time period due to COVID. Now, over the last 2 weeks, so week 18 and week 19, we have seen a slight increase in numbers. And looking at we monitor mainly the positivity rate. And looking at the positivity rate from the 3rd of May to the 10th of May, it has gradually increased from 2.04 to yesterday, which was 5.43. And we know that the number of new cases that we're seeing have also increased from averaging 10, 12, 17 cases to yesterday with 54 new cases. Now the regions or the areas that we're seeing an increase is the Belize district and the Cayo district.
And while the number of positive cases is seeing a steady increase, there are no discussions for enforcing any additional measures. According to Dr. Diaz-Musa, what the ministry is encouraging at this time is for Belizeans to take personal responsibility by practicing some of the measures learnt over the past 2 years.
At this point, with the numbers and the way that we're seeing the slight increase, no, we're not discussing additional measures as yet. We have always spoken about personal responsibility and community responsibility that we all have. So the press release yesterday focused a lot on that in order to encourage our population to be mindful that the pandemic is still here. Persons are still becoming unwell, and we very much need to ensure that we continue with our public health measures and take that personal responsibility, especially so if you have someone in your home that is considered to be a vulnerable person. So someone with a chronic disease, a pregnant woman, we've got to encourage people we need to protect each other and take our community responsibility as well.
2 out of every 3 Belizeans eligible to be vaccinated have received at least 2 doses of the COVID-19 vaccine. The unvaccinated are at a greater risk of dying as a result of COVID-19, says Dr. Natalia Baer, the head of the Ministry of Health's vaccination drive. To emphasize this point, she shared a graph which shows that the unvaccinated are 48% more likely to die of COVID-19 than the vaccinated. Here is what she told us.
To date, we have a total of 211,355 persons who have completed their primary series of COVID-19 vaccination. That represents 49% of the total population. Remember, we aiming at achieving 85% coverage, so we are pretty far away from that. But when we look at the number of persons eligible to receive COVID-19 vaccines in Belize, 12 years and older, we have reached 68.7%. And in a nutshell, out of every 3 Belizeans that are eligible to be vaccinated, only 2 are vaccinated. And that one that is not vaccinated is a susceptible person to get infected and continue with the transmission. After June 1st, 2021, when we started with the second dose for the primary series of vaccines, we can consider that from that point, the risk of infection and death is equal for everyone, persons that are vaccinated and persons that are not vaccinated. So what we did is look back at the data from June 1, 2021 up to date, and we use standard methods for age-adjusted mortality rates to compare the risk of death between being vaccinated or an unvaccinated person. I can see there that the COVID-19 mortality rate or deaths for every 10,000 people in Belize for fully vaccinated is 1.9. For persons that are not vaccinated is 48.42 for every 10,000 people. So that means that an unvaccinated person is 24 times more likely to die compared to a completely vaccinated person.
As of May 30th, Pfizer vaccines will no longer be available in country. The last batch of Pfizer vaccines in Belize will expire at the end of the month. Additionally, there are no AstraZeneca vaccines in country at this time. So after the month of May, only Johnson & Johnson vaccines will be available for administering. Dr. Baer told us more.
I want to take the opportunity to remind the public that the government of Belize have procured more than 100% of vaccines needed for persons eligible in Belize to get the vaccine. We had been, as Dr. Diaz mentioned, available to any sort of strategy to get the vaccine in arms. Now the vaccines usually have a short expiration period. So we will continue vaccinating until the last day that the vaccine expires, and persons will have to wait until we restock with vaccines. So the opportunity was there. 30th of May is the last day that we will have Pfizer vaccine available for persons 12 years and older at the vaccination site. After the 30th of May, there will only be Johnson & Johnson vaccines available.
Up next, a playground is dedicated in the honor of the late Mr. Program. When we return.
¿Sabías que Hospital Galenia modificó los protocolos de seguridad y prevención de salud ante la pandemia de COVID-19 para evitar contagios?
Se garantiza que todo paciente que llega a quirófano está libre de COVID y durante su periodo de recuperación no va a tener contacto con un paciente infectado.
Hospital Galenia, más que un hospital.
What is the Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine? The Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine is an RNA vaccine that triggers our immune system to develop antibodies against the SARS-CoV-2 virus that causes COVID-19. It helps to reduce hospitalization, severity of the disease, and death. What is the Pfizer vaccine made of, and is it safe? The Pfizer vaccine is made up of mRNA messenger ribonucleic acid, which are molecules that carry the genetic information needed to make proteins, lipid, salts, and sugar. It is safe for persons 12 years and older and does not contain the COVID-19 virus, hence cannot cause infection. Tests have shown that the vaccine is effective against current virus variants. Who should take the Pfizer vaccine? The Pfizer vaccine should be taken by persons 12 years of age and older who do not have severe allergic reaction after a previous dose of vaccine or have not had severe allergic reaction to any ingredient of this vaccine. 2 doses of the vaccine are required 3 weeks apart. If you are between the ages of 12 and 17 years, you are required to present a signed consent form before you are vaccinated. What are the side effects of the Pfizer vaccine? Some common side effects of the Pfizer vaccine are headache, fatigue, muscle pain, fever, chills, and swelling at the injection site. If side effects persist, contact your doctor as soon as possible. Does the Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine prevent infection and transmission? No, vaccination alone does not prevent infection and transmission. We are still required to continue to wear masks properly, physically distance, wash and sanitize hands often, practice proper coughing and sneezing hygiene, and avoid crowds.
I'm always on the go, and the country is my home. So when I want to get away from it all, I immerse myself with my favorite movies, all from the new Smart Stream app. It's easy to use this service. Purchase your movies from the app and use your mobile data, Smart Stream data packages, or smart broadband to stream and enjoy. Be like me and stream on the go with Smart Stream.
Connecting people. Creating memories.
Hey guys, so here we are at the Glaze Out Kitchen. I just prepared this amazing broccoli.
Sharing a smile. Next Gen, the ultimate digital experience.
Prime Minister John Briceno was in attendance at a police open day at the Raccoon Street Police Station in Belize City. PM Briceno also took time out to deliver lunch to police officers at checkpoint and booths across the country. He says ACP Howell Gillett, the regional commander of the Eastern Division, invited him, a request he says he could not turn down.
For me, it's important to, when Mr. Gillett invited me to come and see what the police officers are doing here in Belize City, it was important for me to be able to come and have a first-hand look as to the work they're doing, to the tremendous work that they do under some very difficult circumstances. You know, it's so easy for us to be able to look at the faults of the police officers and the department, but do not recognize the tremendous amount of work and successes that they have. And by coming here today and having a first-hand look at the work that they're doing and to to be able to discuss or to speak to some of the police officers. I think to me it's very fulfilling, but at the same time it's important for me to be able to show the respect that the police department needs and should have. I used to spend many hours on a Hudson when I worked in the cane fields. Well, that's a long time ago. So I know how tough it is, and for us to be able to stop with them, and just say a quick hi, give them a plate of food, and just a little comment to them, and thanking them personally for the great sacrifice that they do, because many of them they work where they don't live. So, when they finish, they still have to try to find a way to get back to work. I wish that we could find a way how we could address that issue. I know in the bigger cities, like in the United States, the police officers are from where they live as opposed to where you constantly are transferring them. It breaks my heart when you see police officers are out there after a long day's work trying to hitchhike to get home.
Karim Musa, the area representative for Caribbean Shores, today honored now deceased Belizean musician Gilbert Mr. Program Alamia. Mr. Program was a member of Musa's constituency. His life was cut short when he was stabbed to death in October of 2020 at a house on Simon Lamb Street. The 36-year-old was revered for his musical talent and passion for the art he created. Today, a park was officially inaugurated in his name in the community he resided. Here is what Musa and Mayor Bernard Wagner had to say at the ribbon-cutting ceremony this afternoon.
We were granted by the new administration a community development fund each month to do projects within our respective constituencies. And the first thing that came to my mind when I heard this was that we need to have a park in honor and tribute to this legend and this icon of Kelly Street, Mr. Program. I recall quite vividly the night before his untimely passing, spending the last few hours with him. It was like he was on a spiritual high that I've never seen before. Anywhere you went across this country, you would see Mr. Program pushing his music because he believed in himself. And that is the type of belief that we want our young artists to have in themselves, and we want politicians to have in these young artists the same type of belief and to invest in them. And likewise, the community that they hail from.
Today we celebrate and honor our dearly departed friend, Gilbert Mr. Program Alamia. Through the dedication of this multifunctional space, made possible through the efforts of our hard-working minister and Caribbean Shores Rep, Honorable Karim Musa, tragedy struck our hearts on October 2nd, 2021, if I can recall, as we heard of Mr. Program's untimely and unfortunate passing. I'm certain a storm of grief stationed itself over this community, as a matter of fact, the entire city, and of course the entertainment sector, as we prepare to bid our final farewells. On that very day, in the wee hours of the morning, this country lost a budding icon. And in his honor, we are gathered to lay the inspirational foundation, Minister, for the development of numerous icons.
Teachers play an integral role in our development from our early childhood years in preschool and primary school, and then in high school, as we decide whether we will venture into the science or business fields. Even at the tertiary level, there are those teachers who inspire us to become the men and women of our generation and the next. So on the occasion of Education Week, News 5 wants to highlight some of those teachers.
Dedicated to service, united in passion, leading through difficult times. That's the theme for Education Week, and we here at Channel 5 want to shout out those teachers who have impacted our lives in some way or the other.
The one person that really comes to mind when we think about teachers is Miss Lizama from PHS. I remember in one instance, I wasn't going to take a CXC exam, and she literally made it her business to come and see me at my class, and she was like, "Why aren't you taking this exam?" And I explained why, and she was like, "No, I think you need to take it." And I took the exam, and I got a 1. So for me, like, that just shows that even though you don't see your potential or what you can do, that teaches us to just, push yourself somewhere and you can succeed.
In primary school, I can remember clearly Mr. Rosado. He taught me, I believe, in the last 3 or 4 years of primary school and helped to prepare me for those national exams. So he played an integral role in my results in those national exams at Standard 6. In high school, I have Mr. Emil Polido. He was my English literature teacher. He was the one who recognized my love for reading, my love for writing, and he even used my comedic side in school. And then finally, my art teacher, Teacher Van Zee, who failed me in Fort Farm and made me have to do summer classes before I was able to get my diploma. She said, "You could pass, I could pass you, but I'll fail you. I could give you that 1 point, but I'll fail you because I want you to learn a lesson." And I learned that lesson, that not everything comes easy, and sometimes you just have to focus and give your best.
My aunt, Martha Garbott, a completely superb teacher. She has since retired 2 years ago. But it really gives you a change of perspective when you kind of come home to the teacher versus just being in the classroom with the teacher. So you get to see basically the life outside of the classroom, where it still continues. Teachers' work still continues outside of a classroom. If I was to mention a teacher that has impacted me in my youth, it would be Miss Venice Saul from high school. She was a teacher in 3rd form. She taught me one of the sciences. Thank you, Miss Saul. I still remember you, and yes, you were very impactful to me.
I don't have a particular teacher to acknowledge. What I would want to do instead is acknowledge my family on both sides. My mother's side, the Nunes family, all educators. On the Cayetano side, it's also all educators, and collectively they have played an integral role not only in educating the masses of Belizeans, but in terms of prioritizing education for their children and their relatives' children as well. So as we celebrate Teachers Week, I'd want to acknowledge both sides of my family for having done a stellar job in the education field.
I have 2 teachers in my family, so I've seen the hard work that they have done, both in the classroom and when they go home at the end of the day. I've been in classrooms during summer breaks, after school, and I know how involved and dedicated teachers need to be in their students' life. I have had a number of teachers that have impacted my life in a very positive way, from working with me in elocution contests to training me for monologues and poetry on stage at the Bliss Festival of Arts, putting in extra hours to work with me. And as you know, teachers don't get overtime for things like that. So they have really helped in shaping me to become the person I am today. If I'm to pinpoint one pivotal moment where a teacher and educator really shifted my trajectory, it would be my primary school principal, Mr. Acevedo. It was a really interesting story because I was always known as someone who would talk a lot in class, which back then, maybe still today, gets you into a lot of trouble. And I always asked a lot of questions and objected to policies that I didn't quite agree with or didn't understand or seemed to be fair. So I would have to visit him quite often at the teacher's request. And one day he sat me down and said, "You have a lot of different opinions about things in the school. I want you to use it for something positive." And he nominated me to be a part of a children advisory group for UNICEF, which completely changed, I think, the level of involvement that I had as a child in working within the social sector, in working on children's rights issues, which really became a big part of what I ended up doing when I started working.
But what about you? Let me know which teacher has inspired you.
Head on over to our Facebook page at News 5 Live and share with us that teacher who inspired you. And that's the news. Tonight's broadcast is available in both text and streaming video at channel5belize.com. You can also connect with us on our Facebook page at facebook.com/News5Live. I'm Sabrina Daly. Thanks for joining us. And from all of us here at News 5, please remember to wash your hands, keep your social distance, and stay safe. Good night.